Hey, you all. Welcome to another great edition of Success Not the Less Show. I'm so excited to have these two bosses, these ladies in the building, Tasha Ware and Monica Jones. The faces, the plugs, the strong women behind HLS Collective. I mean, so many things we have to share today. So let's get started. So, Tasha and Monica, how are you both doing? And, tell the world a little bit about yourself and your business.
We're good.
We're doing
Yeah. No
great.
complaints.
None at all. None at all. Business is booming. Business is booming. Excited to share our resources with everyone virtually and through our app and in person. So we got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things coming out. Now that people are coming outside, going inside, going to work. So lots of things
Yeah.
going on.
Couldn't be more excited. Honestly, I'm ready to have all the energy from both of y'all because just to be able to connect is and intentionally connect lately has been like everything for us. So
Mhm.
you can see it speaks through the content that all of us are doing, and it speaks to the conversations that we're having, whether they're online for people to see or not. It's very genuine. So I'm excited to put this on the forefront.
Yes.
So walk people through your journey because I'm sure people are going to look at your wonderful app, the website, the accolades. We're going to get into that, but tell people, both where you started and how did you get to this point, and then how you all linked up and created did this amazing venture now.
Okay, well, I guess I'll start since I'm the oldest. So I started personal training 20 years ago. This year's my 20th year, so I'm excited about
Yay.
that. I was a professional dancer first. I danced at Alvin Ailey and Nickelodeon, and then transitioned into personal training. I was a fitness manager, managed trainers, and trained trainers, hired trainers for about 15 years. And I was a mentor for a lot of people. So, and I just have a passion for helping women find what they need for their bodies to be healthy and to really get in shape mentally and physically. And along the way, I met Monica Jones, and then she became a personal trainer underneath me at Gold's Gym. And from there, we just kept growing together. In business, we were always expressing what we wanted for the future. Even in the now, we were learning and increasing our skills along the way because there's always something to learn, especially over 20 years. And then
Mhm.
I started the virtual personal training of HLS Collective 2 years ago. And that's how the company started. Once everyone kind of shut it down, had to figure out other ways to pivot, to bring people in because there was still a need for it, even though the gyms were shut down. So from there, really had to think outside the box. Like, what do people need? And like, do they need programs? They need nutrition. They need the consistency of the mental health to meet someone week to week and actually see their face, even though we couldn't physically be together. And I really wanted to be a support system and a resource for women to come to ask any question and not random people on the internet that they didn't know, or they didn't know if they had good intentions or had them even in mind when they created their programs. So that's pretty much where it got started for me and Monica's.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm like a huge advocate for all of that, but like God put me on Tasha's couch. I'm telling you, it's
Yes.
funny. When I was in school and trying to go through culinary school and put myself in some sort of path that I felt was keeping up with where I should be in life, um, fate kicked me out of school multiple times. It's like, you're not paying for this, so get out. And I got to go back to school thanks to some people that I worked with at PF Chang's. They raised some money, gave it to me, and then the first class I took was anatomy and physiology. And it was like, what are the odds that I would finally have a class that would show me passion? Because I just didn't have it. I couldn't find it, and it's as someone young, if there's anyone young watching this or someone who has a young child, that's really overwhelming. It can be something that can scare you into or put you into a very anxious state. And so, luckily, when I made the decision to leave school and pursue becoming a personal trainer, I ended up at Tasha's birthday party 10 years ago. This is our 10-year anniversary of friendship. It's my 10-year anniversary of being a trainer. And, I love to tell people she came up to me on her couch. I was looking sad. She had a crunk chalice full of vodka and cut up fruit because, antioxidants. And, she was like, why are you sad? And I was like, in my mind, I was like, because I haven't met you yet. Really. And so she mentored me and many other people that I worked with. But, looking back, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more with the shutdown and also with just what's happened through Black Lives Matter, through everything social injustice. Looking back, I never understood just so deeply why God needed me to be managed by Tasha. It was so much more to it. We speak a lot about it in different interviews and different conversations, but hiring diverse was at the forefront of her values, and mentoring and making sure that we as new trainers understood how to eat in the winter and eat in the summer and make sure that you could stay consistent and professional. So we've carried all those values over the years. We've both gone through our battles of not seeing what we needed from the industry and from the positions that we held, whether it was like programming for a startup or being in a large box gym. And we've just taken those things over the years in our experience, in our low-key oppression, and been like, all right, we're gonna have to remix this and flip it and make it better. So we would always sit and talk about like, okay, it's a lifestyle. We want to be out and about and seen and having a good time and maybe having a cocktail or, having a good time, but still feel healthy. And that's where we met in the middle. And 2 years ago when the shutdown happened, we went into survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time where like we didn't hear from each other, but it was like we grinding.
Yeah.
And so Tasha, went into virtual training, and I went into virtual providing services for companies like Under Armour and MyFitnessPal to make workouts that people could do on third-party apps.
Yeah.
And then also started small group for mental health. I tried to start small group for training, but we met every week to talk about self-actualization. So with our powers combined, we are now the party.
A full collective.
I love it. So talk about, people, you just mentioned a few brands, Under Armour, Nickelodeon. I read on your website, Alvin Ailey, the great Alvin Ailey, American Dance Theater. I didn't make the cut. But
I would never.
Oh my God. But how does someone collaborate with these brands? What did they see in you? And then how did you turn and bring that value not only to the company, but to yourself and to your clients? Can you talk about that?
Go ahead, Tosh.
Sure. Yeah. So with Alvin Ailey and Dance Theater Harlem, I had such a passion for dance that I had a one-track mind. Like, I'm going to be a professional dancer and that's it. And I'm just going to work my butt off, dance 8 hours a day till I get what I want. And then when I graduated college, I just happenstance auditioned for Nickelodeon, a show called Backyardigans. And it was something totally different because, ironically, it was virtual because it was motion capture dance. So they recorded us just like they do the video games. And then that became the character Pablo. But as I was doing that, I also needed another job. So that's how I ended up personal training at Gold's Gym at the same time. So what that gave me presently is when, as a personal trainer, I was able to take my dance background and kind of put a unique spin on what personal training should look like and what it does look like. You don't have to lift up the whole gym to get physically fit all the time. There's a whole nother way to get through. I had never lifted weights a day in my life when I became a personal trainer. And so I kind of melded the two passions together to create something unique for people like me and people like Monica. So that's how those brands for myself kind of brought me to where I am today. And I love to infuse the two from what I learned 20 years ago to now.
Yeah. And she does it so well.
Thank you. I try.
It's like everything ends. I put up a post today and like everything ends with like a nice little like the fingers and then the hair flip and like the smile and the toes pointed. It's like we doing barbell rows. Your toes are pointed. But yeah, same story. That energy rubs off on people and it calls the people that it's supposed to. I feel like I'm big on the energetics of it. So I feel like when it comes to affording yourself or like creating the opportunities for yourself to work with big brands is being committed to pouring value into yourself. If you're not going to pour value into how you feel about yourself, how you treat yourself, and then how you educate yourself on whatever it is, whether it's personal training or, even current day people learning about NFTs and all Bitcoin and all that. If you're not going to pour into yourself and do those things, it's not going to come across in the professional setting. It's not going to come across in like how you can level up with those brands. For me, I had for some, I don't know what it was going through life. I've just had deep self-belief and really deep faith. And same as Tasha, I told myself after a certain period of time, no matter how insecure I might feel in a way, I believed that I was going to be an influencer, and I believed that I was going to be a trainer. And I believed that I was going to do positive things for the women and people around me. So that aligns, it starts to align with who it's supposed to. It doesn't even have to be big brands. It has to be impact, though. You're going to affect someone in a positive way if you stick to truly who you are, and if you decide to better yourself and get better at your craft every day. It's inevitable. So I tell people, like, don't make it complicated. If you know that you want to be a great trainer, work on doing that every day. And then the clientele, whatever you're looking for, is going to find you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now I want to get to some of the pondering questions that people have. You know, everyone, it reminds me of real estate. Everybody claims they're a personal trainer and nutritionist and all these things. How can people decipher, you know, the professionals from people that just want to make some money, quick hustle, and then they're out today tomorrow? So how does somebody decipher the two?
I mean, you definitely have to have some discernment when you choose a trainer. You want to know, like, what is your background? How much education did you put in to it? Or are you just good at taking pictures and training yourself? What experience do you have with other people? And if you haven't, like when I was a new trainer, be honest and say, hey, I'm a new trainer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people, you have to, there has to be a level of transparency when you choose a trainer. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Where were you certified? Where have you trained? Who have you trained? Do you train people like me, or do you train people like you if you look like the opposite? So I think that's the first thing, is to look for someone who is very transparent, because I was a good trainer my first year. Am I better now? Of course. But the people that I kept for 18 years, they grew with me as well. But that's because I told the truth. I didn't lie. I'm like, hey, I got this cert, but I'm getting another one, and I'm getting another one. So certs aren't everything, but it does also help if they have had a mentor before, because sometimes you need to be able to take what's in the book and be able to apply it to the floor. And that's not something that they teach in the certification. Mm-hmm. So if they have never worked with a personal trainer themselves, or some type of fitness manager, then it'll be apparent very quickly through their experience with you in the gym. There's going to be little things. Are they on their phone, or are they looking at your form? You know, do they have homework material? Are they talking about your nutrition, or are they giving you fad diets? So there's a few telltale signs and you should take the time to interview them. I mean, set a consultation, schedule, and ask them the hard questions as they ask you the questions about your fitness journey. And they should ask you a lot of questions too. They need to know a few things. They have to know things about you to even create a program, to even tell you what you need from the trainer. If they don't do any kind of analysis or questioning of you, they just, oh, I can give you a program. Well, how do you know you can give them a program if you don't know what they need? So those are questions you definitely want to ask your trainer.
Yeah, that was exactly two things. Certifications, while they don't determine the quality of the trainer, they do determine that the trainer invested time and invested money into becoming educated to be able to train you. But the other thing is that trainers and coaches should be asking questions about you. It's a very personal field. And I think that a lot of people should know, especially women, when it comes down to finding a trainer, you might get a couple sessions in before you decide it's not for you. And it's really important to be able to respect yourself and to, you know, stay strong in your decisions. If it doesn't align, don't push yourself to be involved with that trainer for a long period of time. I hope that doesn't happen to people, but at the same time, I've been in situations before where I trained with someone, I'm like, this isn't great. But I'm also like not getting results, but I don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or I don't want to have a bad, you know, relationship with them after the fact. But it's really important. It's a big investment. It's a lot of energy. It's a different type of relationship you have with this person. It's important to decide and always stay in tune with where you are with your results and how you feel. And then even if that person is well certified, they just might not be the person for you. So it's okay to say no. even if you started. So read your contracts too. That's a big thing. It's like the contract could be, you know, it could be a 60-day guarantee. It could be whatever it is. And if you don't have a contract, that's also a telltale sign.
Yeah.
And you free. Free to go.
You are free to go.
Talk about the mental aspect of health, you know, especially during COVID. And I know, you know, people want to get fit, they want to get the summer body. So talk about the importance of the mental before they, you know, while they're seeing the results, but then also so they can keep it and it can become a lifestyle and not just, you know, a habit.
I mean, the biggest thing is to be true to yourself and really figure out what you need to be healthy, and talk to a fitness professional to help you figure it out, because health is something different to everyone. Some people need more sleep. Some people just need more water. Some people just need someone to talk to about how their kids drove them crazy for 8 hours and they're used to them being at school for 8 hours. So I think that for most people, they just have to take the time for themselves to figure out what they need before they jump into something. So like you said, with COVID, everyone needed something a little bit different. Some people needed to get it away. Some people needed more interaction. I had clients that lived all the way out of town, but they were isolated in New York City, where they literally had to isolate because it was so bad there. So they needed something different than from my clients who mentally, they just needed a break from not talking to anybody because there's too many people in their house and they can't go anywhere. And to help provide them with options like, hey, let's just go outside. You may just need some sun. Go take a walk. Yes, I know you're on the computer with me, but maybe you're tired of the computer because you did that all day at work. And hey, let's talk about flexibility because you were at the computer. So everybody, there's many different myriads of health that you can tackle with a person, but it really does come back down to what you need as an individual each day, each week, each month, and each year, because it's ever changing depending on what's going on in the world that day.
Yeah, because we are such creatures of consumption, it's so important to have someone consistently asking how you're doing and holding you and keeping you aware of what you said you wanted and checking in to make sure that that's still what it is. Because Tasha and I are both the type of trainers that will tell you straight up if your goal is unrealistic or if it's something that doesn't align with what we do. You know, we don't do that. I want to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. You know, we just don't do the things that aren't realistic. And when it comes to mental health, if we know something that you want is not going to contribute to your mental health bettering, we're going to take you on the path that first, you know, addresses that and allows for you to continue to be empowered to take the steps that you need to physically. And also, you know, with social media and with all the things that you can consume, it can be very hard. It's probably one of the toughest things ever, especially for women to do, to stick to a plan when they see so many different things happening and when it's assumed that they are working, the things that they're seeing for the people that they're watching go through it, which there's a lot of, you know, fakery going on the internet. But then there's also people who are getting results, but they have completely different genetics. And so we are here to ensure that people that we work with feel as if they're in their own programming and that they can really stay autonomous and they have that level of ability and empowerment to stick to their own plan and to be locked into who they are. And it helps with mental health. It helps with the physical health. It's just, the answer might change each day too. It's like one day you had a 12-hour workday, which told you not to do that. But what can we do now to make up for it? I'm going to tell you right now, like the level of stress you've been under, it ain't it. Just because it's a quick thing you can do doesn't mean it's effective for you hormonally. So it's like, you know, just being able to be that guiding light and that voice of the, nah, that ain't it, or the keep going. Yes.
Yes, keep going. Yeah.
So you both are friends, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. No.
So how, you know, most people who are friends, you know, don't do business together. Mm-hmm. Right? But you guys do business. So how did that come about? And how do you, you know, of course, be business partners, but then be able to maintain your friendship? I think that's important. A lot of people struggle with that.
So I think because from like she said, from the beginning, we've been so transparent with each other, like meeting her on my couch and then teaching her the skill set to do whatever she thought she wanted to do with or without me. It was never about her becoming a trainer for me. It was always about hey, Monica, do what's going to make you happy. Like if this is what makes you happy, go do that. So we have she always says we have a very, we have a line in the sand that's like, hey, I have to let my friend be my friend. I just have to let her be herself. But when it comes to business, we are very honest with each other. We're very much so, this is what I want to do, and this is what you want to do. So I'm going to do that, and you do that, and let's push this thing together. But we will go out to eat or out to drink, and we end up doing business when we don't even want to necessarily do business, because it comes so natural to talk about what we have a passion for. So I think because what we've chosen as our life passion, they are just aligned what we want to accomplish. It makes it a lot easier to go back and forth between friendship and work, because we have the same goal in mind. We have the same spiritual intentions and life goals, and this is what we're going to look like when we're old, and this is what we're going to do when we're old. And on vacation, I want my toes in the sand, because those things match. It's like, yes, we're doing work, but we also like helping people. So because we have that level of integrity and transparency, it makes it easier to go back and forth from work to play on a daily basis.
Yeah, I honestly, again, like, I give the glory to God, because to be honest, there are our history, we've had involvements with different brands, and also like in the same brands. Like, we've had involvement where it showed us, okay, it's not worth it if we're losing our character, or if, if we're really forcing something, it's not happening. There's a reason for that, right? So we've learned so many lessons along the way. And I feel like the timing is so divine of how we ended up partnering, because all these ideas, and things that we love, we could really fine tune them and say, okay, now really understanding through both of our experiences in life, especially being 10 years apart, now we can really understand what does actually work, and what is it that we would commit to be the brand that we have that supports other people, and, women especially. And we 1000%, the biggest thing that we both agree on is the fact that if it really, really causes trouble and we lose peace over it, it's not worth it. And the pace, like, I think the biggest thing is, like, the pace is not what we're concerned about. We're concerned about the impact, and we're concerned about living through our values and really being able to give that to people. The moment that it becomes something that is far removed from us and our ability to be directly there and to say, like, hey, I'm here for you. What do you need to, and anyone who's employed by the brand or works with the brand, that's when we're too far. Like, we want to still have that direct connection to our community. So I always appreciated, when I came on, I was coming from a kind of like a painful breakup and like a hard time. And over the years of being involved, Tasha didn't pressure me. She wasn't like, no, it's our time. It's our time. She just, like I said, she let me be who I needed to be. And what we did separately built us up so much for what we provide now. And it's great synergy, but I can't express how important it was for us to go through everything that we went through before we decided it was okay to go into business together.
Agreed.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you guys a question for the moms out there. Talk about the importance of, getting fit, or the training that goes in, when somebody gets pregnant, before and then postpartum. Can you talk about some tips, or how HLS comes into play with helping people with that journey as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, one of my friends / clients had her baby like 2 weeks ago, and this is her second one at 41. And we trained all the way through the first and the second one. One of the main things I would advise is that you start working out before. That makes the biggest difference in your post, is to work out not as hard as you can, but as smart as you can before you decide to take the journey to have a child, whether you decide to do in vitro or get a donor, or you and your husband do it the good old fashioned way. You just want your body to be prepared physically on the inside and the outside. You want to feel good about yourself, and that energy that you get from feeling the confidence that you're going to move forward in this journey. So that's a big thing, is if you haven't started before you're pregnant, you really can't do as much while you're pregnant. You have to wait. Most of the times the doctor will tell you have to do what you were already doing. So that's my advice for those who know they're going to. And then the post, we actually are we're going to have a program specifically for that. But you do have to know, like, what happens. You have to give yourself some grace. You got to let yourself heal. You got to, take some time with your child. Like, don't rush to the snap back aesthetic thing, because that's not real. Everybody's body does something different. Everybody has different genetics, and you might want to do it again. Like, you run into a snapback, but you might make 2, 3, 4, 5 more babies. Maybe not 5, but you might make some more babies. So you got to give yourself some grace, and then we will be there as support to take a real look. I mean, I really look at the stomach like, hey, do you have diastasis? Do you have things that, hey, maybe you need to see a physical therapist before you jump into a program? So, and don't be disillusioned by it. If I just wear this waist trainer, it's going to be what I wanted the snapback to be.
What about plastic surgery?
You can speak on that, Mom. You want to
Plastic surgery? I mean, it's the same. Like, you can get plastic surgery all you want to, but you have to actually train your muscles. Like, you have to train for good posture. Let's say you get some big old boobs because that's what you wanted your whole life, but you never worked your back. So you look like this.
Yeah.
You're just hunched over. And it's sad, like, I make a joke of it, but people want what they want, and you should absolutely have what you want, especially if you work hard for it. But you have to respect that your body has its own needs before you go and enhance it. That's not going to fix the problems that are already, it's not going to fix what is already lacking. Not necessarily a problem, but it could surface as a problem later on, whether that is postural or the fact that your hormones were already out of whack and then you decided to put something synthetic in your body. Like, it's really important to get professional advice, like medical advice. And it's really important to establish a routine that fuels you more than from a physical and aesthetic standpoint. Because if you don't have those values, then I've seen it a number of times where people just want to continue to get more work done. And it's like, well, there's a whole nother thing to address here if that's the case.
Right. And also, because of the health aspect of it, like, as you let's just say you decide you want to take the fat out, the fat around your heart is still there. Like, your arteries are still clogged. You can still have diabetes. And then you haven't making the changes to sustain whatever the cosmetic changes you've done. So then it comes back, and you still end up needing training, or you still need something else. And like Monica said, and then mentally, if you didn't do the mental work before you did those changes, you don't really know. You make the cosmetic change, and then it doesn't even look the way you imagined yourself in your mind, because you didn't do the work in your mind in the first place.
And it looks different. And a lot of people, it's hard, especially with like liposuction and stuff like that. It's hard, and people are getting robbed out here.
And you're gonna need it again.
But yeah, it's do the mental work, but also it's really, really important to have those conversations and continue to invest in learning for yourself what it is that you need. Because again, like, the things that you think that you want to see, the ones that are the real root of issues that you have, will surface once you make those changes. And then there's a lot to unpack there.
Yes. And check your circle. If your whole circle's doing it, are you doing it because your circle's doing it, or are you doing it because you really want that?
Yeah, I mean, if their opinions were painful to you before you got the work done, child, you gotta be prepared.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. I mean, the big thing also with the pre and postpartum. So I actually saw a post the other day of someone making suggestions of modifications through pregnancy, and it was very generalized. It's really important to actually speak to a professional directly. Do not just go through Instagram advice of what you should do first, second, third trimester, because it changes for everyone. And once you get deeper into pregnancy, it's very important to know which movement patterns you really should not be doing and how you can make an adjustment. But that needs to be personalized. It has to be. So, be careful with that. And just the big thing is, like, we wanted to see mothers have their own community, because again, the consumption of what's going on online, and you're watching women who either have been training their entire lives as professional athletes snap back, or you're watching women who have never had children do physical things, and you're carrying a life. It's important to have a community that understands. So that's why we have the collective. That's why we have mothers in the collective. That's why we support anyone in whatever realm, whether they're going through infertility and going through fertility treatments. Like, we want that support.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about the app. Because I know some people are like, okay, I already got a lot of apps on my phone. I'm apped out. Why do they need to download your app? And then what value does it bring besides the other personal training wellness apps that's out there?
So the difference between this app and other apps is that it is custom. So if we have a session and a consultation with Kat, what you see on the app is for you. It's not a general, hey, log on to Peloton and everybody ride together app. It really is custom, and we even down to the habit setting. So as you look at your program, and it's not for everybody, but it's a great way to disseminate, hey, if you want to work out at your house, but you don't know what to do, those app workouts will correlate with exactly what you have in your house. If you're going to go to the gym, it's the same thing. It's also the way that we give out our nutrition. So those are just a few of the main things that are different from just any other app, is that this is custom and other apps aren't custom for what your programming is. Like we said, after you talk to the fitness professional to figure out what you need. So that's the difference between our app and other apps.
Yeah. And again, community, everything like CCO over here, everything that we do is based off of how we can continue to connect. Right. Because although it is personalized for you, there's still a space where you can get support from other people. That's why we ran our challenge, so that we could show up for ourselves for 5 minutes a day. And even if it's not just showing that you did the workout, we're sharing a lot of things about like what our intentions are for over a 30-day time frame. And I believe that HLS, our app, is the saving grace still of what's going on in the industry, of everything needs to be fast and immediate, and we need, the instant gratification. The app really brings you back to the day-to-day of like, well, what can we do today? How can we celebrate that? How can we share that and like make sure that it's something that feels authentic to the individual and to the collective. So it's, I've been on other apps, and I'm so proud to be on this one because we know every single person on the app.
Yeah.
There's been a consultation with every single one of them.
We know everybody.
We send them messages every week. Like you have a direct line of contact it's major.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Okay. Now talk about the importance of the team. I know it's more than just you two. So tell people about the whole team, so they don't know it's just you two, that they'll be contacting and asking all these questions any time of the day.
Well, our other team member, Natia, she is one of our personal trainers, and she's the mom on staff. So she'll be running our programs for the pre and postnatal as well. And she's definitely an asset. She's also
real chill vibes.
Real chill vibes.
Very soothing voice, which I'm excited for y'all to hear more of.
Yes. And she's a native to DC as well. So that's also awesome. She also is an attorney. So she has those other skills set that we need in the background sometime, which is awesome. And then we have a chief strategy officer, which he helps to merge all the technology together, whether it's the app or the website. And he helps us really strategize. Like, yes, we have all this personal training and creative, and we have all these things on this side. And he has the let me get in my brain and do the computer thing and bring it all together to make sure that the collective, what comes out of our mouth is expressed through our technology and things like that. And then we have Tiana, and Tiana helps with our social media. She helps with some of the ideas and keeping it organized and things like that, especially when I just can't do it.
Yeah, and it takes a village, but that's the thing is like I really enjoy every aspect of what each of our teammates brings to the table, because I think, the quote of like, you should never be the smartest person in the rooms that you're in. If that's the case, you're not growing. That's how I feel in these rooms. And we have so much love and respect for each other. It's always inspiring.
Yes.
When you talk to one another, when I'm like reaching out to Tia about what she's planning for social, with respect to what she's planning, I want to plan campaigns around what she has a passion for, and all of our communication feels that way. We're always learning from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the right way to, I guess, how should your client reward themselves when they meet these targets and goals? How should they reward themselves and not go overboard? But at the same time, how do you all reward your clients for meeting their targets and goals?
So that's funny that you say that. We talk about making it more of a lifestyle as opposed to feeling like you need a reward. Like, you are allowed to eat the food. You are allowed to pat yourself on the back on a daily basis, regardless of what your day looks like. So we kind of use a different philosophy outside of reward yourself, because people are so into instant gratification. And how many rewards can you really have? Like, I mean, we're going to reward you every Saturday for the next 365, and we know your goal could take less time if you just live it on a daily basis. Like, you do deserve it. You do deserve to have what's going to make you happy, but is it moderation? So I think we try to do it more verbally than, hey, you get to eat cake on Saturday every Saturday because you did my 5 workouts.
Yeah, the big thing is, like, we have very special backgrounds that have our experience has led us to that decision. There's different types of coaches that you can have where they'll be stricter on you, and some people need that. And then there are coaches like ourselves that are really about asking the questions and understanding the why. So in just behavioral health, when it comes to physical activity or in diet and nutrition, why is it that you feel that you need that thing? Where did the craving come from? What was the day like? You continually want this at this hour on this day. Is it because it's your most stressful day of the week, or is it because you keep trying to skip carbs on Tuesday because you want to be skinny in whatever dress? Like, asking the question and understanding really makes it easier to build the lifestyle out that doesn't feel restrictive and doesn't feel like you need to be rewarding. But at the same time, when it comes to celebration, we will never stop you from celebrating.
Right.
We will celebrate you. Absolutely. So on the app, we have the ability to build out habits for you specifically. We never overload you with a bunch of them, but when you hit them, there's a celebration every time. You get the little whoop-dee with the with the little celebration and the confetti. And it's really important that that's built in, because it's like, we as a society are so conditioned to judging ourselves and comparing ourselves and, feeling like everything needs to be earned from a monetary standpoint or from a hustle standpoint. So it's so important to build that into a lifestyle. Your lifestyle, you've got to stay intuitive. You got to be aware, and you need someone who, like, really cares about you to say, like, well, why is that?
Right.
Let's try this. We tried it. Great job. And then, try to progress from there. So the answer to your question, Kat, is like, reward is more of a, did I stay true to myself thing for us than it is a, did I mark the boxes and now I get this.
And now I get it. Yeah.
What about fitness journals? Are you guys a stickler on that, or how do people keep in their phone? Like, how should people keep track of their fitness and whatnot and health?
So that's one of the positives of the app, is it keeps it for you. We set it up as far as what your fitness journal should be and what should be on there for the week and what should be on there for the month. Like, it may just say drink 64 ounces of water every single day, but in 30 days, we can look at the calendar or the journal and say, oh, you did it. You did all 64. You did 64. Let's try 72 ounces. So that's where all the stuff lives for the app, the workouts and everything like that. And then you can look in 30 days and say, oh, your exercise compliance was this, your food compliance was this. So don't beat yourself up if you didn't lose 6 pounds because you only did 50% of everything. Good job. 50% more than you did last month. So that's kind of
recognizing that it's not all about that one thing that you set a goal for. There's so many things you accomplish along the way. And that is what being able to be consistent and log and do something approachable every day can lead to. When that's lifestyle, right?
That's lifestyle.
For me, I journal every night personally, but that's not everybody's jam. I also don't necessarily want my clients on electronics at night. So it's like, you got to make it a priority earlier in the day to do those things, and make yourself a priority. But with like hormonal health and doing like, cycle syncing and, getting rid of PMS symptoms, my clients have to go through more journal prompts, and they're interactive. So I just send them straight to them, because not everyone has headaches, premenstrual headaches, and not everyone has cramps, and not everyone has acne. So it's just about being personalized with it. So the day-to-day everything they can log in the app. But if it's something a little bit deeper, we as women especially need to realize that that's going to require more of us to know ourselves, and we are worth that effort. It seems hard, but it's actually harder to keep going through life every day and going through that cycle and going through that pain and struggle in whichever way it is, and like continually thinking I need to do something different and not doing it. That's harder.
Yep.
Now I gotta ask you. I got a couple questions from the audience and whatnot. So I gotta ask
audience.
I gotta ask the 6-pack question. Okay, can someone? What's the quickest or I guess fastest way someone can get a 6-pack? And I guess I'm just gonna ask that part.
You only need 2. It's like, go ahead.
You sure you need 6? Stored energy. I mean, it's just stored energy over top of the other 4, you know? So the answer is it's such an individualized answer. It depends on how tall you are, how much you weigh, your genetics. Have you worked out before? Do you not work out?
It's so individual.
It's so individualized. There's no one 6-pack answer. We'd be bajillionaires already if we had that one answer for everybody. And you have to look at, your parents. Oh, have you ever had one? Do you want one today? But have you in your entire life ever had a pack? Because you haven't had 0-pack. That might tell you how long it's going to take you to get a 6-pack. So it's not if you how, it's a how long.
Yeah, there can't be a fastest way, because even someone who could starve themselves will notice the muscle isn't there once they get there. Then their head looks big for their body, and they're like, "Well, dang, I'm hungry."
Yeah, well, dang, yeah, exactly. It happens.
It happens. I did it once. You remember that?
Yeah, you tried it.
Listen, here's the thing. We have experienced many things.
So how long did it take? Because both you guys have amazing bodies. Okay.
Thanks.
How long did it take for each one of you guys to get a 6-pack? Starting from from where you are to.
I only have 2.
I was gonna say I don't know.
Got 2?
I was gonna say I'm like a 2. I haven't had. I think the max I had was 4, but that was like 2008. But I wanted to be bigger in other places, so I let go of the pack to have some glutes. So I
just feel like those glutes were there since birth, so whatever.
They were littler, they were smaller glutes, and grown-up glutes.
I wanted grown-up glutes. That's that's the quote of the year, right?
41-year-old glutes, yes.
Talking about glutes, aka butt. Some people might not know what that means.
Oh yes.
How can someone grow their butt? Like I've heard that it takes a very long time to grow it. Is that true or?
Not necessarily, but I'm sure the science has changed. But when it comes to actually putting on a pound of muscle, if you're really focused on it, it can take up to 6 weeks. Like it takes time to build muscle. Yes. So the thing is, a lot of times you have what could be, or not you, but people can have what seems to be favorable size to their glutes, but the majority of it is fat. So you're just changing the shape of it. So you might not need to grow it to be big. You might need to shape it, and you might like that. So either way, you have to go through the process of building some muscle and actually building movement familiarity with those actual exercises and doing it the safe way so you don't get injured because you're just trying to go heavy. So you need an HLS trainer.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's the fastest and most efficient way.
Yes, and don't think that you're gonna do all this cardio and then get glutes, because that's not how it works.
I built a butt. It definitely took time, and it took for me to eat, you know, and it took for me to dispel the need for cardio, because it's hard. I think people really chase the endorphin high of high intense exercise and of cardio, but some days when you lift, an effective lift may not even make you sweat that much. However, it will make you more boosted in your metabolism and will cause you to burn more calories doing nothing than working out really hard will. So it takes to have that person like continue to reassure you and listen to your concerns and then keep telling you the truth so that you can stay on track with your plan. Because I see a lot of people buy plans from trainers that have really big butts and the bodies that they want, but they do like a couple days of it and then they're done with it because it was kind of just one of those emotional purchases.
Exactly. Do what your trainer said and you can have what you want.
I like that. I like that one. So what's next for you both, and what's the vision for yourself and of course the company?
Oh, well, definitely would like to grow the collective. In the next few years, we will definitely be hiring other trainers so that we can share what we have with them, and they can also then share it with the community, and really just let the world know that there's resources from women and people that look like them and really care about helping them reach their health and wellness goals. That's pretty much where I see the company going, and being able to really put eyes on what we want to give the world, because I think that people don't often see two women in business doing fitness and not selling waist trainers and things like that. But to know that there's other ways to go about it, and that there are other support and resources, whether you're pre, postnatal, college, you name it, but that you don't have to get sucked into what the media is telling you should do and what you actually should do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we want to be resources in multiple directions. We want to be resources in hire aspiring fitness professionals and provide them with the mentorship that we have both really benefited from. And we also want to join in corporate wellness. We want to make sure that we are taking care of the people who live a different lifestyle than we do, but we know we can help them shape it into the best lifestyle for them, so they can continue on with their high achieving careers, or continue to feel empowered to achieve more. So we're definitely looking to do more in corporate wellness. So hit us up. But we love connecting and interacting. That's the big thing that we're so excited about doing this together, is because the magic happens when you can get that connection with people. And I think the energy definitely comes naturally. So, don't be afraid to message us. You'll get us. So that's the big thing, is like knowing at this point that people still have access to us, and that we still have access to great people in our networks is our superpower as minorities, especially. Like, we got to continue to lean on each other and continue to, keep opening doors and reaching back and reaching a hand out for the next generation of aspiring fitness and wellness professionals.
And do you have advice for anybody who wants to get started, or maybe some people who it's kind of like, well, I don't know how to get started. I work full time. I really want to get into fitness and training. So do you have any advice for those people?
If you're interested in training, get a consultation with us. Like Monica said, we are very accessible. It doesn't cost you anything to talk to someone, to really figure out, as busy as you think you are, we have clients that may be just as busy, if not more busy, that we can help you coordinate where health and wellness fits into where your lifestyle is today, but to also help you get to where you would like your lifestyle to be in the future. So definitely reach out to us and schedule a consultation, and we can help you talk through that and figure out what that looks like for you.
Yeah, and continue to consume the positive things, the educational things. Like, really keep your head on straight when it comes to who is influencing that decision, because on the internet, it really looks different than it is in real life. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, from a standpoint of someone who's been on the internet for years now, Tasha's seen my real life through it all. It's like, if it wasn't something that made me happy, it wasn't worth doing. So, don't get too caught up in what you see. Do your work to actually look into it, speak to the right people that you look up to directly. And, then you can decide if that's the career that you want. Also know that, like, they could branch out into a lot of avenues for you too, if you continue to put integrity into your work.
Exactly.
Okay, last two questions. I got another question from the audience.
How
does someone start getting clients, especially when they don't know anybody, and I guess their friends aren't supporting them in their new fitness journey and being a trainer? How does someone deal with that?
I mean, you have to use your words. You have to talk to people. You have to go outside of your friends. You have to go places. It's almost like asking someone, how do you find a husband? Like, you really have to be intentional about where you spend your time, and not looking for people to come to you. You really have to be intentional about offering what resource you can be for them. Offer a free consultation. Say, hey, let me help you. Let me give you a free workout to show you what I can do. And maybe just having a conversation with your friends and family to let them know what level you are professionally, so they can share about you.
Yeah.
They may not be ready to join the journey, but if they can speak positive, you have 10 friends and 10 friends to speak positively about you to their coworkers or to other people. But you may have to ask them. You can't just hope that they come to you, because people are scared of trainers. People are scared that they're going to start and they're going to try to kill them. And, and you have to
They think they got to be in shape to have a trainer. And it's like, whoa.
You know how many times people say, hey,
Yeah.
I got to get in shape before I do my session with you. Wait, no. I don't want you to do anything before. Just let me show you the right way on day one. Because I may want you to do nothing. I may want you to just, sleep.
Yeah. And the big thing I tell people in any realm is be excited to fail, because it is inevitable. You got to learn from the failures. I think one of the biggest things for me was like when I changed my energy around someone telling me no, it really changed things for me. Understand that when people give you the real and definite no, when you try to pitch them on investing in themselves and investing in your services, when they really tell you that and you've already given them any sort of rebuttal that you can, understand that they're not supposed to work with you. When you force people into that kind of relationship and interaction, it will actually be way more miserable for you. So it's important to get to the failing, get into it, get it out of the way, make sure that you flex that muscle of talking to people, flex the muscle of pitching it and failing, because it's going to teach you how to do it well. And then, I mean, it's so empowering when you finally get to be good at pitching and selling what you're passionate about providing.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to follow up a year later. I mean, if it's really what you're deciding to do with your life,
be professional so you can do that, right?
Yeah, be professional. Keep track of who you did talk to. Keep their information, and actually give a damn. Call them 6 months. Like, hey, I know we talked that last time. You said you wanted to do X, Y, Z. Did you get to at least do X? Did you get to do Y? Because people appreciate when you show that you really care about them. And that you'll get a referral from them, even if they give you another no, just because you showed that you cared.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm glad you said it, because I think people don't understand the power in following up. They think because they got one no that it's not going to be no a year from now, 6 months, because people go through lifespans. So I'm so glad that you say that, and not to take it personal. How did you guys not take it personal when you thought that client or that person had promised you, yeah, I'm gonna sign up, and they didn't come through? How did you keep pushing forward?
I mean, honestly, people lie so much. I know it sounds kind of crazy. They lie to themselves, they lie to you. And so as a fitness professional, you get used to people telling you like, oh, I didn't eat that. And you're like, well, nothing changed. So you either didn't do anything I said, or you're just not telling the truth. So you can't take it personal, because them doing that, it's not about you. They're still figuring out in their head what they even want sometimes. Like one day they want a six pack, and then a week later they want a butt. And you have to be, as fitness professionals, we have to be honest. And you can't take it personal, because that's just human nature. People want to feel good and they don't want to look bad, but it's not about that for us. So that's one of the first things I teach trainers is don't take anything personal. It's not you, it's personal training, and they have to figure out personally what they want and what they need.
If you do what you're supposed to be doing, if you're continuing to work on yourself and you stay locked into that and have that level of autonomy, then those people, it doesn't affect you quite so much. You really don't take it personally, because you're like, man, I did what I needed to do. I'm in tune with what it is that I'm proud of. I'm in tune with what it is I need to work on. And this doesn't reflect me as a professional. It reflects where this person is in their life. And you have to be okay with not being able to save everybody, because not everybody actually wants to do and achieve the things they say they do. A lot of people go through a phase where they're still fearful of getting what they want. A lot of people, whether it's from a career standpoint or from a physical body change standpoint, they're actually afraid of what the results will bring. And they kind of get stuck in this continuum of like, all right, well, I'm going to keep talking about it, and eventually that'll just force me into it happens. But it's like, you can't get too invested in where that person is. So, and another big thing is like, if you decide to train your family members, you need to establish that is a completely different relationship, and that you are a professional helping them, and continue to keep that professional aspect to your training, because it's heartbreaking for us when we're really, really attached to the outcomes of our loved ones. And you can take it really personally, but at the end of the day, sometimes doing that isn't for you. Sometimes you need to make sure that a colleague of yours trains who you care about, or that you have extra help for that and you're realistic about it. But we always tend to, we all take things personally. What you have to do is keep doing the reps and the sets of being aware of how you're doing yourself.
Okay. Do you all have any events coming up, and then share where people can find and connect with you all at?
So we do have some events coming up, but we don't have dates yet. But now that the world is opening up a little bit more, that's partially why Monica Jones is here, is to help us organize our upcoming events. You want to speak more on that, Ron?
Yeah. So what's to come is actually very exciting. So we have partnerships that are coming up, which is great, and that is going to that's going to be really dope to get different groups of people out and together. Our goal is to be able to grow the collective. So even though we're not doing something in person just yet, you'll be in the know if you join us. If you go to the website, if you subscribe, you'll get all of our emails. If you go and you follow us on Instagram, then you're going to get the updates. We're the third week into our challenge of movement. The movements are there. If you want to just be a part of it and just get your movement on, you can go to the page, turn on your notifications, and do them with us. And then we also are going to be doing some things in partnership with Under Armour, of course. So like, I love my team. I love when a store opens, we can go do that. So keep your eyes peeled, but subscribe. That way you know. But we are excited about the partnerships coming up. We're really excited about being able to get into some wellness retreats and get the vibes going together in person. So big things to come towards the end of the year.
Okay. Well, thank you both for coming today. I truly appreciate it, and I'm so excited.
We gotta give you your flowers.
Yes, and thank you.
I gotta join the squad, right?
Yes, come through. But no, we appreciate you so much. For those of you watching, Kat has pitched us in anything she thought would be beneficial to us over the last 7 years. And that's really dope, because when your sis hits you up and is like, hey, I'm doing this, or hey, I'm doing this, I would love to interview you in a time where a lot of people feel like they need to be at the front of things, and they need to be the star of something or the focus of something. For you to highlight people around you is just, you're a unicorn. It's dope. It's like, we really appreciate it. Yeah, I want it. Give us a tear, because we really appreciate you. Like, I was boosted.
And then I was like, yes, let's go.
Yeah. So, anybody who's watching this, if you come from either of our channels or anything, like, please show your support. Small businesses, small projects, we need each other, and intentionally be there. There's nothing but gems on here. So
that's right.
Thank you, Kat.
Yes.
Thank you both. I truly appreciate it. Like I said, and you all definitely make sure you go to HLScollective.com, go to their Instagram, and definitely download the app as soon as possible. As soon as this live stream ends, please download the app and become a part of the community. So thank you both, and I see nothing but great things for you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kat. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, y'all.